Hey church, Ben here. I got a special visitor this week. Her name is Eleanor Forshaw. Wave at everybody.
Hi.
I'm going to interview Eleanor because she is leaving us. Sad face. But she's going on to a fresh new chapter in her life. She's graduating high school and the Unstoppable Youth Group and going to go to Pitt, right?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
So I thought it'd be nice for all of you in Anchored Youth in our Sunday school program just to hear us talk a little bit about what God has got planned for her and some of the ways that she has jumped over hurdles, and we'll jump over some more in the coming months. So, Eleanor, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready? They're ready.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you a couple questions that I
All
wrote
right.
down here. Nothing too hard, so just answer freely.
Yeah, I'm not in school anymore, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the square root of 369? You don't
Next.
know! She's not going to college. Failed.
Yeah.
Eleanor, you are graduating from high school.
Yeah, I
Person, good
graduated.
I was going to give you 5, but I'm not doing it. Totally safe.
Yeah.
You're graduating from high school and from Unstoppable Youth. It's okay. I get it. I get it. Chapters change. But do you even know, we were called Unstoppable Youth, and as you will be, guys, one day you're going to graduate from Anchored, going to be unstoppable. Do you even know what our verse is? Okay, what is it?
It's about if God is for us, who can be against us?
Yes.
And I think it's Romans 8:31.
Oh my gosh, you need to make me cry. I really care. I did. I'm so proud of you. That's why you're unstoppable. So I really believe that even in COVID, Eleanor, all of our seniors are unstoppable. You guys are going to be amazing. So, good job.
Thank you.
First test passed. Oh no, first one failed.
Yeah, well.
Square root 1.
Yeah, right.
Second
I don't
test
even know
passed.
if 369 has a square.
Who knows? Next question. What are some of the big life decisions you are thinking through right now? There's lots of them.
Yeah. Well, with COVID, so I already decided where I'm going and.
Okay.
All
Is it
that.
Pitt? Did I get
It's
that right?
Pitt, yeah, University
Okay.
of Pittsburgh. And right now with COVID, there's all of the, there's a bunch of schools going just completely virtual.
Okay, so you're
And-
having to make a decision
Yeah.
there?
So you can either, for my school, you can either go or you can choose to do remote learning. And
Okay.
I've had to decide if I wanted to.
Is
Go
there a
or-
tuition difference if you go?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So you could save money.
Yeah, so I've decided to go the economic route.
Okay,
and
stay home for a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Is
Just
that like
for this semester.
Okay.
Yeah, just for the semester. So, yeah.
you chosen that? Okay. Do you know what you're studying already?
I'm going
No.
undecided. Yeah.
Okay. Also very smart guys, because back in my day, like when we used to write on like tablets with like chisels, everybody pretty much chose majors like straight out of
Yeah.
the gate. And when I was your age, I'm like, I want to be a marketing major. I didn't know what marketing was. I just chose it. And then you start taking classes straight away. So I really do
Yeah.
think that's some
Yeah.
good wisdom, and good for you guys too. If you're thinking about going to college, start generic.
It's also it's a lot less stressful.
It's less stressful.
People don't seem to get it when you tell them though. But
I get it.
stay firm in your decision to
Yeah.
be undecided.
Start generic, get it going, mature, get a feel for it, then pick. So
Yeah.
great decision. How have you involved God in these decisions?
Well, it's not like anybody really knows a lot about COVID, so that's been kind of, altogether
there's a lot
it's
of
been a
faith there.
long learning curve
Yeah.
for me, I know, to be like, okay, I'm just gonna, I don't know, nobody really knows, God knows what's going on, so I'm just gonna give that to him, and I think, that's what I had to do here, because I just didn't know what decision to make, because I don't know what it's gonna be like when I go. No one's been through this at school
you're
before.
Praying about
Yeah.
it? Okay.
Yeah, and I definitely was asking other people, or like just telling them what was going on, and I think seeing, people that I know that are wise and make good decisions and have good advice, I
Yep.
would definitely talk to them about it, and they were like, yeah, like, I think that would be a good option, and, they'd be honest with me too, and saying, like, you might miss out on a few things and stuff like that, so.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Slightly different ball diamond here, ball field.
Ball
Slightly different
diamond?
Field? What's a ball diamond?
It's a different, what's the saying?
Left field. That's
No,
what I wanna say.
out of left-
I'm in left field now.
Okay.
Have you ever doubted God? Like you,
Yeah.
Eleanor, the
Oh, yeah.
amazing young woman of God? Have you ever just been like, hey, are you even there? Is this even real?
Yes, I think that's natural.
Okay.
I think, like,
So what was your process? Was it an unanswered prayer, or was it just like you looked around and you're like, God, this world is insane. Are you even there?
right, I think it's just been, like, I don't think it's been a big like gap I've been in where I'm like, I
Okay.
don't even know. But I definitely
Maybe
there's
a
been
moment in a
moments
day or a week
where
or
I'm
something.
like, like this doesn't. I think it definitely happens when you overthink it,
Totally.
because that's when it's like logic really does
Yep.
not line up. And so, when it's just like when you start overthinking it, or you see all the bad things going on. Definitely, COVID is another great example
Yep.
of that. 2020's been a bit of a ride.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely think that there's been times where it's just like you just sit there and you start to think about like, no, like what if that story in the Bible's just made up?
I know.
Or like, how do we even know? Like, the Bible, like, how did they get all of it together? Like, yeah, there's definitely been moments.
So how did you find your way back to God and to faith when you like you mentioned logic, and we talk about this in Sunday school a bit. God is really pretty illogical.
Yeah.
If you think about the things that God does, it's a major theme of the Bible is trusting God when the logic doesn't make sense.
Right.
There's a gap between what you know and what God's going to do. Parting the Red Sea is a classic
right?
example.
And
you
if
walk up to that sea and
yeah.
it's like, God, humans know walk ye across watery. We know,
Right.
we know do. And God's just like, I got you. I'm going to part it.
Yeah.
Jesus dying, to humans, we're like, hey, this is the part where you stop him from getting beaten, tortured, and die, isn't it? Yet God let it happen to do something better.
Right. Yeah.
And so logic sometimes can get in your way as you're following God. So how did you, Eleanor, you're like, okay, I had this doubting period. Did you pray about it? Did the Lord speak to you?
Mm-hmm.
What happened that you got back into it?
I mean, I definitely think the other hard thing is like I've never seen the Red Sea be parted. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like it's
read
just
about
like
it.
those kind of things where you read about it, but I've never seen it. So
Yeah.
I definitely think that you have to find your own ways of seeing it, like seeing him in other things, like literally if it's.
What is
just
your
like,
way? What is
and
Eleanor's?
I really love people,
Okay.
so
you see God in
I see
people.
God in people.
Oh, cool.
Like I think that that's really how like a lot of my faith has come to be because I've been on a few mission trips and like that's really how I see it. It's like how the team comes together and the way the team affects the people there, even if it's not directly like God.
Well, I think on that issue, it's interesting to note how humans, we're made in God's image. And you say, you're seeing God in humans. We are the only creation with compassion.
Mm.
So, like, animals don't have compassion on any other animal, especially if they're not in their family unit. But humans, we can go over to Bulgaria or to a slum in a third world country and instantly feel compassion towards someone who's sick or dying because they're made in God's image. We feel bad for them. Animals don't have that. And so I think of that, I'm like, it's God's fingerprint going. If you see compassion and love for people who don't know each other, it's God.
Yeah, that's really it. I think, like the extreme and obvious example would be a missions trip.
Yeah.
But it's like you can see it, any day. Like someone, holds door open for you. And it's just like seeing the light.
I've seen you do it at Youth Group. This is unscripted. Eleanor's really nice to people who are new that come to our youth group. And if they're like by themselves, I've done this on a couple of occasions. I've gone up to Eleanor and I've whispered in her ear, I'm like, hey, this is before COVID. Can you please go talk to that person? Didn't I do this?
Yeah, you've done that.
Like, can you please go talk to that person? They look so lonely and they're new. And Eleanor just naturally, she's like, hey, I like that shirt. It makes them feel comfortable.
Yeah, I think that's just like, people don't like feeling lonely and stuff like that. So I think if you just treat them well, I think that's how you see it.
God was all about people. He came here for people. So, all right. What's your favorite Bible story and why?
Well, my favorite Bible story
like the
is,
classics, David and Goliath.
Yeah, right. So
Moses,
it's
Joseph in the special coat.
Yeah, because of the movie.
The movie.
Like the DreamWorks movie. Yeah, I just grew up watching that.
The cartoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
The one with Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Plays.
Yeah, I didn't realize Ben Affleck did it, but I know that movie.
Yeah, that's why.
Why is that you?
I don't know. I just loved it growing up because it has music and everything. So now when I read it in the Bible, I just visualize it. I don't know. It's always been my favorite.
And there's a lot of illogical things. We talked about logic earlier.
It's really
sold into slavery.
It is a really
goes
great
into the pit,
story
goes
too.
to jail, and if you're Joseph, you're like, hey, God, script kind of stinks.
Yeah.
But God had a plan, and then all of a sudden it ends well. So
that's a basic answer, but it's true.
Okay, along those lines, who's your favorite woman in the Bible?
Well, I mean, honestly, there's not that many to pick from. Like there is, but
there are some.
There's
classics.
some Ruth and
Esther, Ruth, Deborah.
But I think my favorite is the woman who I think she's a prostitute or something like that, and she
Rahab.
Is that her name?
She is the
one that
prostitutes.
with the perfume, and she like.
No, that's Mary.
Yeah, that's
it's Mary.
Yeah,
There's
Mary,
two Marys,
yeah.
and that's one of them.
Yeah, and she breaks the perfume for Jesus,
Yeah.
and or the seal that like can't be.
We
put
just
back
read it the other day
on.
to my boys. Yep.
Yeah, and she breaks the seal and puts it on Jesus' feet.
Yeah.
And the disciples like don't get it. They're like, why is she doing this? And Jesus recognizes that she's given like her most prized possession for him. I think that's my favorite.
Great story.
Yeah.
And that story, by the way, we just did this at home the other day. The value of that perfume, it's debated in terms of what the actual value was, but pretty much a year's salary.
Yeah.
So for an adult, like if you put into today's terms, depending on what industry you're talking about, we're talking about like $40,000 to $60,000 here.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
I mean, we're not talking about like, hey, it smells nice. It's like, what are you doing? You're pouring gold out on the floor.
It's not Bath and Body Works.
Yeah. So I mean, it was really significant. So that's cool. Great story. Last two questions.
Okay.
Talk to me about discipleship. This week I'm going to be preaching on discipleship at church to the grown-ups. And I know that you've been in a discipleship relationship with Heather Van Brackle for a long time. And Heather is amazing, as are all of my youth leaders. Shout out. Talk to me about some of the things you've learned from her. Maybe a great memory that you have with Heather. I know that you love her and you're going to miss her. You guys will be like besties. But.
Yeah. I think discipleship is so great. Like, I think, it's great to be around people your own age and everything, but having an adult influence that maybe isn't your parents, I think is just really helpful. I think that it's just Heather and I got to lunch, got to coffee, just text. During COVID, we FaceTime, go on walks. Like, it's just really nice to have someone to go and...
You can sort of share openly with her.
Yeah, and just go and talk to them about things. And honestly, they don't have to be anything special.
Yeah, it's
just
life.
They could literally just be like, how was your week this week? And it was like, good. Like, I did this and this. And yeah, it's just... I think also with kids, it's really hard to interact with adults. And I think that's just kind of a good, like adults, I feel like want to connect with the kids, but the kids are like really scared. Like adults are scary.
And sometimes the adult matters, because sometimes I find that like if a child doesn't connect with their parents, they might even connect with someone who's the same age as their parents, but is not their parent.
Yeah.
So parents, note to you, you got to find these people, because older people do need to invest in younger people, but sometimes you're just not the one. And so you gotta find those people.
Yeah, luckily I have like, Tori and Emily, who I also have. I think it's just really nice to have people to talk to and, get accustomed to, adults and kind of take away that stigma. Like, adults are not all that scary.
Well, you are super mature, and it's because of all the sewing in, I think, that a lot of women have had in your lives. Like your mom, you mentioned Emily here at church, Heather Van Brackle, Tori.
Yeah,
and
it's
others.
Definitely, it's all part of the church in general. It's just really great.
Which is cool. It's good to see.
Yeah.
Okay, so last thing. Do you have any advice for 12-year-old Eleanor, is watching this? There's a girl, surely it's 12, 11 or 12.
Yeah.
Little old Eleanor. What do you want to say to Eleanor? You can even look at the camera.
Oh, I was just like, zoom in.
Eleanor, don't wear those shorts on picture day.
I have so many things. I think the number one thing, for me, but I think it's pretty general, is like, don't care what other people think. Like, own that you go to
peer pressure.
Group.
You're talking about peer pressure?
No, not even like. Just own that you go to church. Own that you go to youth group. And
so what are you doing on the weekend? Answer A would be like, nothing, just laying low with family. But you're going to youth group. Yeah. Answer B is like, I'm going to youth group. It's going to be amazing. Love what we're doing. Do you want to come?
Right, like that kind of thing. I also think the advice is like, people are going to act like they care that you go, but like they're going to like make fun of you, poke fun of you. But I think that it's like, own it and honestly show them that you don't think you're above them. You don't think that, like, you're not going to sit here and be like, well, according to this Bible passage,
you're going to say, this is what I'm doing.
Right.
I love it, and I'll be there.
Like, and show them that you were just another person, like, that is going to, is fun to be around in a really nice
humility.
way.
I'm getting the humility vibe. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, right. Like, don't.
Good.
Yeah,
I think so 12-year-old Eleanor, go to youth, be proud of it.
Yeah, be proud, Eleanor. You got this.
All right, well, Eleanor, thank you for taking some time with me. I know that especially the younger girls watching will be encouraged and inspired, because they will want to be like you. I hope, because we're
Oh,
really proud of you. And
Yeah.
really sad to lose Eleanor and all of our seniors. We lose 12 seniors this
know.
year. So
It's a sad time.
I'm praying for all of our young boys and girls that you would stay with our youth program until you get old and you graduate.
It's worth it in the end. Like, that's another thing is like, if you're gonna look back on the memories you made, make them the good memories, not the regretful memories.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, thank you again.
You're welcome.
We'll be praying for you. We're
Thank
still
you.
here for you. And it sounds like you'll be around for a
You'll
little
be
bit. So,
missed.
yeah, good.
I'll miss
All right.
you.
Guys, thank you for taking the last few minutes to spend with us to hear from Eleanor. Thank you for joining us. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. God
Bye.
bless.